Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Anna Clements, and this is Audiobooks with Anna, where we explore the fascinating world of audiobooks with industry experts. Today we have the absolute pleasure of being joined by Rosemary Cline and Kelly Brakenhoff. Kelly, I'm assuming that's how you pronounce your last name. Apologies if it isn't. But I'm hoping to do a kind of a mini summary of each of your stories and your careers and how you got here, just to give everybody an idea of kind of who you are. And then what we're really here to talk about is the teamwork that is the narrator-author collaboration. And Kelly, obviously, to hear more about your books and your thoughts about the whole process of audiobook production. Well, Rosemary, let's start with you. Can you give us an overview of your past and perhaps your journey into audiobooks? I'm sure everybody would love to hear your journey.
Oh, thanks so much. I love this room, Anna, and the way that you conduct it and who you are. So I try to be pretty faithful. So I will be as brief as I can. I came to audiobooks right after COVID. I'm a 4-decade actor, director, producer in theater with a founder of a small equity company in Quogue, New York. While I lived in the city, I started another company that was just women, and we wrote and produced and directed and all our own work, and we're down in the downtown circuit of festivals, which was so fun. You can only do that when you have no kids and no husband. So when COVID hit and the half of my directing jobs ended for a while, I was working in schools, in the local schools, for about 18 years, directing high school and middle school kids. And when that ended, I thought I'd become a filmmaker, so I tried to do that for a while, and that wasn't quite right. And then somehow, Elise Arsenault of the Global Actor, TGAA, put an email in my inbox, and it took me about 9 months to actually pay attention to it. And that brought me to 22, I think. And I didn't want to go back to the school when COVID ended. I just felt like I'm done there. So I started the course. And I guess my first book was in September of 23. And I will save our little cute meet story until after Kelly has told us about her.
Thank you very much. Well, Kelly, do feel free, and please correct me if I did mispronounce your last name, but do tell us about you.
Well, hello there. Good afternoon. I was going to say it's noon here in Nebraska, in the middle of the U.S. Thank you so much for having me and Rosemary. This is exciting, and thank you for pronouncing my name correctly. No one ever gets it right the first time, so yay. Let's see. So I'm from Nebraska. Actually, I did not grow up in Nebraska. I grew up in Connecticut, and through a series of events, moved to Nebraska in high school. Went to high school and college here. I have always been a writer since I was a little girl. I always wanted to do it. Always thought I would write the great American novel. And instead, I met some deaf people in high school and learned sign language. And in college, learned more sign language and ended up becoming a sign language interpreter. So I've been doing that for more than 30 years, which makes me old. I call myself seasoned. But I have 4 children, and as they started growing up, I kind of went back to my first love. I always wanted to write books, so I started writing a book. My first one was in 2014. I did NaNoWriMo, and I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but you try to write 50,000 words in 1 month. And that was the first time I ever actually completed a book. I had written lots of stories and lots of fits and starts, but that was the first time I actually finished a book. Of course, go ahead.
No, I need to interrupt you because I'm fascinated by NaNoWriMo, and I know a lot of us spend our time appreciating what authors do. But can you just talk for a moment what that was like? Because NaNoWriMo, in and of itself, and several of our narrator friends have undertaken NaNoWriMo and become successful authors. But was it everything you thought? Did you manage to be consistent? How on earth did that happen?
Oh, yeah. I had heard about it for several years before I finally just did it. I'm sure, as many of you know, you might like have a dream, but until something becomes super uncomfortable in your life where you finally say, I'm not going to just dream about this, I'm going to do it. Yeah, nothing happens because it's just a dream. But it became like the way for me to make my dream come true. And it's very, um, it's just broken into small steps. So 50,000 words works out to 1,667 words a day, which seemed like something doable because 50,000 sounds like a lot, but 1,600 a day sounds like something you can do. So I just made a commitment. I told my family about it. I pre-cooked some meals, and other people had to do laundry for me. And I really, really committed to, like, I was going to do this. And at the end of the month, I had 50,000 words. And honestly, out of that, the original 50,000 words, probably less than a third of them ended up into the final version of the book, which was published not until 2019. So it took 5 years of me learning after that the difference between a rough draft and a completed published book. But yeah, so I've been doing this for 5 years now. I have actually 15 books total now. I do adult mysteries, which are kind of cozy, like kind of clean. I guess you would say they take place on a college campus. And then I have 8 children's books that I do. And because I'm a sign language interpreter, I'm super passionate about children learning American Sign Language and learning about deaf culture and the deaf community. So I kind of have my thing that I'm really interested in for myself and my thing that I'm really interested in, I guess, for the world.
Absolutely love that. And I feel like I'm sorry, I have so many things to say. I love that you have a very niche or niche passion with regards to sign language interpretation, which obviously is an incredible skill to have undertaken and to be able to do. And I love that you love it because ultimately all of us are here because something has caught our imagination and we can't let it go. But talk to us a second about, and this is the end of the conversation really, but talk to us about why audio, because initially the way you're describing it is basically you were developing your writing skill, your talents as an author, your so without specifically talking about Rosemary just yet, what happened that made you go, hang on, I need to be in this world too?
That's a great question. There's probably a couple of answers to it. The most basic answer is I've been in a book club of my own with my friends for 24 years now, and we meet every month. And as we've gotten older, more and more of us, either through vision issues or just attention or life or whatever, really prefer to listen to audiobooks. So where we used to read like actual paper books all the time, now we're finding ourselves more and more listening to audiobooks. And so these are the friends that I hang around with. And after publishing my books, they were like, okay, Kelly, when are you going to have audiobooks? And I kind of had to laugh and say, well, I would have to sell a lot of books before I can afford to have audiobooks. But thank you for asking. Um, the second reason, which I think is probably more deep and relates to my other passion, is I work with people with disabilities every day, all kinds of disabilities. And so I really wanted my things accessible. And I realized that, there's screen readers and other things that can help people with vision problems to be able to read my books. But I think what an actual live narrator brings to the page, brings to the project is just so much better than what a screen reader could do. I just wanted to make sure that everything that I do is accessible to all different people. That's
Oh,
just kind of a passion of
fantastic.
mine. Yeah.
Yeah, we have so many partially sighted people within the club who often comment that they're listening to screen readers all day, every day, and they need them. There is no doubt that it is a requirement in their lives, but also who comment that their need for human voices, their need for storytellers, which is kind of what keeps us going, is paramount. They don't want to listen to it just being told by the robotic voice that they hear all day, every day. They want the nuance and the emotion and the so on. So let's I think that segues us beautifully to your meat story. And Rosemary, please feel free to jump in and take over or whatever. How did this come about? What happened next?
Kelly, you correct me if I'm wrong, but this is how I remember. I was, as a new narrator, as we know when everyone first starts, you're looking at like so many genres, thinking, I love them all, I want to do them all. And you realize that you go into complete overwhelm. So you really have to sit with yourself and say, wait a second, what do I absolutely love? and love to read and want to do, and choose one that's very, very close to your heart, is what I said. So I chose cozy mysteries. And there were a couple other reasons for it, but the main one was that. And I started to subscribe to cozy and mystery writers' newsletters. I joined a couple of the book clubs. I started to listen to the clubhouse rooms. And one of the, I think, Kelly, you correct me if I'm wrong, it was a newsletter for a book club. And Kelly had written, I didn't know who she was, she had written a headline that said, Why It's a Wonderful Life, the play, the show, is the perfect cozy mystery, 5 points. And then she wrote this wonderful article where she outlined the 5 points. So I had to write to her immediately and say, I've done that show so many times. I love it so, so much. I had no idea it might be any cozy mystery, and I can't wait to tell my theater group. And we started writing back and forth. And after a while, I think I said, have you got any interest in having an audio book done of one of your books? And I sent her a sample. And we started from there, right, Kelly? We kind of made our partnership. And I'm so new to it that I was learning a lot in the very, very beginning, just about how to send a welcome packet, how to invoice, how to find an engineer, how to all those different things. And Kelly has been an absolute dream to work with all along the way.
I don't know if you remember this, Rosemary, but I was actually looking back at my email, and tomorrow is our 1 year anniversary
Oh
of
no.
when you first sent me the email about the article that I wrote about George Bailey and It's a Wonderful Life. And so that just touched me that
Oh,
I can't believe how much we've done in a year. Like, we should just stop and be really impressed by.
I agree. I agree.
Because we've done 3 audiobooks this year, and we have 2 more left to do in 2025, but I feel like I've found a long lost friend. Like, we have so much in common. I think one of the things that touched me, I mean, it was a really sweet email that she sent me, but, I get emails from strangers occasionally. So what stood out though was when I went and looked at her bio, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this woman is so busy. She is involved in so many things, and she's just such a dynamic person." And I thought, those are the people who get stuff done, right? The people who are super have a bunch of things on their plate are the people who actually accomplish great things, and I just knew that I needed to work with her somehow.
Wow. First of all, I'm bowled over. Tomorrow's our anniversary. I'm so happy and excited. And I think the same of you, Kelly. And that kind of brings us to I would love to at some point talk about the balance that you achieve between your career, your family, and you have a large family and with beautiful little grandchildren, and your writing and your 20-year writing group. I'm just so incredibly impressed by the
I'm
longevity and the depth.
I'm sorry, I really need to just jump in a second and just backtrack to you having chosen Rosemary. And Rosemary, I'm going to have to ask you to cover your ears right now. But Kelly, I want to know, when you heard her voice narrating your book, was there a moment when you wondered if you shouldn't be getting 20 other people to narrate your book? Or was it so, how did it feel? How did it feel that you went ahead and are so thrilled with your product?
Okay, so I have to be honest, I really don't believe in coincidences. I feel like it was just when things fall together in such a way that they did, it just seemed like it was meant to be. So I really never questioned before I even heard her voice. I just never questioned that she was going to be the right person. And then when I did hear her, I think she sent me like a 15-minute sample of one of my books. It was just so neat, especially because I've wanted this for so long. I mean, I've wanted this for 5 years and just couldn't afford to do it and wasn't willing to do like royalty share or anything. I just wanted to pay a person what they're worth outright. And so, yeah, as soon as I heard her like acting out all the parts and stuff, it was just so cool to hear like things that were in my head in her voice. It was just the neatest thing. It's still just.
Incredible. I must just say that this is the perfect crowd for saying it felt like it was meant to be. We are all in love with the idea of, creatives just understanding each other and loving the concept of that grouping. So that was a fantastic answer. Thank you so much.
Yeah, every time, everything that I find out more about her, everything that she does, it's great. I've talked to some of my other writer friends, and a lot of us are kind of still in the beginning of our careers and maybe not, best selling anything yet. And so for a lot of people, they're afraid to take that step to kind of put out into the deep of, I'm going to invest this money, I'm going to invest this, and I may not see it for years. I may not ever see it. But to me, again, it's part of putting, like, I've done everything I can do to make my books as professional as possible. I pay a lot for a cover, I pay a lot for editing. I want them to look like any other book on the shelf. And so the same is what I feel with the narrating is I wanted to have a professional person who really is passionate about what she's doing and doing a great job, so that it's just like an extension of how I present my work to the world. And so I get that, it could take years before I see the results of that, but I can't do it any other way. Like, I can't half do something. I have to go all the way.
That's fantastic. And I must commend you both for being here and for acknowledging and realizing that actually what you've undertaken is a long-term thing. It's a long-term friendship, a long-term business connection that you've made. And actually, even doing this interview and hopefully lots more podcasts will allow you to, download this audio, use this information. Some of the things Rosemary said about how she got in touch with authors for other narrators, that's gold, Rosemary. It really is. So I hope everybody was
Hmm.
paying attention. But yeah, and Rosemary mentioned your writers group and your work-life balance. Talk to us about your writers group a second, because you did mention
Oh,
the
yeah.
fact that I guess you gather as a group of people in a very similar space where you well, tell us about it.
So actually, I have two groups. I have one who is a book club, like my friends and I, that we read books every month, and those can be all different kinds of books, every kind of genre. And then I also have a writing group, and we started getting together 3 years ago, and we get together every morning on Zoom for 2 hours. And it has made the biggest difference in my production and my output and my everything, because it was after COVID or the end of COVID. And I feel like I have a place to show up, like an office. And so what we do is we do sprints. So we write for 25 minutes, and then we chat for 5 minutes, and then we write for 25 minutes. And we do that for 2.5 hours. Now, I have an actual also job. I'm still working as a sign language interpreter, so I am only able to attend 2 to 3 times a week to the writing group. But they have become some of my closest friends and advisors. During those 5 minutes, we help each other through, excuse me, all kinds of questions, and just sometimes we brainstorm, whatever. But they become this like support group of people who I love being around, and they kind of help me solve problems and stuff. So it's really changed, my consistency and my ability to get things done.
Yeah, we talk a lot on here about accountability. We basically gather to either get overexcited about our accountability partners or find them. And it really has, we've garnered some great groups and partnerships of people who are, like-minded and able to support one another, because you can't do it by yourself. It is hard work. And I'm so thrilled that you found a space where you're inspired to create this work. So talk to us then about, because you make it sound like you're a very organized person. The implication of you doing this much work and having a real job in inverted commas and apparently a large family. Talk to us about the kind of scheduling and what kind of a personality you have that has allowed you to create all this stuff.
Yeah, I know I'm a lot. It just I don't know if any of you are into Gallup Strengths Finder or Clifton Strengths, but my top five things are individualization, communication, maximizer, positivity, and arranger. So I am a super organized person. I'm a super positive person. Unfortunately, I always think I can get way more done than what I actually can. My thing I've been working on this year and plan to really work on next year is making my plate the right size, because I kind of heap all these things on there and then get kind of disappointed that I can't do every single thing I want to do right now. So, yeah, I'm really into productivity and I have a great planner. I'm in a business mastermind where I get like planning advice and that kind of thing. I read a lot of nonfiction about planning and productivity just because I don't know, I just like to do all the things. I feel like life is short and I do. I have a big family. I have 4 kids and 8 grandkids, and I just want to do all the stuff. I think the only way you can do all the things is to plan it.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And I know we're going to get questions in the chat. So can you tell us again what the name was of the thing that gave you those kind of 5 overviews of your personality, which I'm assuming is what that is, just so somebody can go and look it up and put a link in
Yeah.
the chat for me.
I will write it in the chat
Oh,
myself
lovely.
because, yes, it's called Clifton Strengths Finders. And it's one of those tests that you take. I don't know if anyone's heard of the Enneagram, but it's kind of like that where you answer questions and then they tell you your strengths in 34 different categories. So it's way more detailed than a lot of other personality type tests that you take, and I've studied it quite a bit. And you use those strengths to kind of lean into the idea behind it is like don't waste time. If there's 34 strengths, don't waste time trying to improve your 34th strength. Like you're only going to be able to improve it a little bit. But if you look at your top 5 strengths and you really try to work on becoming the best that you can be in those top strengths, that's going to really like take you ahead leaps and bounds in what your potential is.
Absolutely
So
love
you
that.
basically like kind of ignore those things that you're not good at and really work on the things that you are good at.
Fantastic. And what a great way to focus your attention and stop trying to, flog a dead horse, as they say. That's amazing. Um,
Yeah,
do
yeah,
you
it's eye
feel
opening.
Yes. Do you feel like you have a work-life writing balance? Are you enjoying how things are going for you right now? I do hope so.
Oh yeah, I love it. I'm kind of at this age where some of my friends are retired, like if they were in the education field, and they have 25 years or whatever, and then they have like a pension and they go retire. So I'm kind of at this age where a lot of people keep talking about that, and I really love everything I do. I love interpreting. I love hanging around with deaf people. I love language and linguistics, and it's really challenging. It's a pretty hard job and it's really fun though. So I get to be in spaces every day, kind of like a fly on the wall, listening to conversations and meetings and all kinds of things. So I love that, and some of that kind of informs my writing because I am going to all these meetings and doing all these things. I kind of take back some of those pieces and put them into the characters that I write about. So I can't really imagine giving up writing, and I can't really imagine giving up interpreting. So I'm not really sure. At some point, I suppose I will, but I love that. And then, of course, my family keeps me grounded because it's really complete chaos. The oldest grandson is 7. I think we have 7 kids under the age of 5. So like this Christmas is just going to be a circus, but I'm there for it. I'm loving it.
Fantastic. And I must just come back to Rosemary a second. Sorry, Rosemary, you unmuted your mic. Were you going
Uh,
to add to
I
the
was I
brilliance of Kelly?
Well, number one, you see why that whenever I post, and I'm not the best poster, and Kelly is, how I say she's so fascinating and brilliant. The things she does. We haven't even touched on her Duke the Deaf Dog children's book series and workbooks. Those are amazing as well. But I just wanted to share with everybody something I asked Kelly a long time ago. I said, so, ASL interpreter all day long. How many different subjects have you done? 19 different university subjects she interprets in. So my next question is, well, what gets tired first? Is it your hands or your face or your head, your brain? So you guys guess, because I was surprised. Let's see. I'll look at the chat, see if anybody says what they think it might be. Hands, brain. Anybody else? Eyes. Hands, brain, eyes. Yeah, okay. We've got 3. What is it, Kelly?
My brain
Yes, the
gets tired.
brain.
People always look at you waving your hands in the air and they're like, "Oh, wow, that has to be exhausting." But the thinking part is the way hardest part.
Right, because you're taking in like a different language, whether it be mathematics or anthropology or whatever it is, and you have to put it through your
Yep.
brain fast enough to get it out your hands and your face. I thought for sure it was the face.
It is space. It's both. You're right.
It's a lot.
It
So
is.
so
But
I
I feel like
wanted
you
to.
guys as actors and narrators, like you get this. Like I'm talking to the choir here. This is awesome. Like you guys totally get this because when I produce the message, I need to match the register and the tone and everything of whoever the speaker is. So whether that's matching it in sign language or matching it in English with my voice, I have to take on all those qualities of the person producing the initial message. And you guys, that's what you do. Like you're taking the written and then putting it into the spoken English, but we're very similar. Our tasks are very similar.
Fantastic. What were you going to add, Rosemary, about Kelly was talking through her kind of work-life balance, and yeah, I felt like you were going to say something more.
I what I want, I can't remember what I said. Only that she was saying that I do a lot, that you can tell this woman goes deep in many many areas of life. But I did want to take a few minutes, if we have time, just to talk a little bit about Kelly's children's book series. If you wanted to, Kelly,
It could
I'm in
could
love
I,
with him.
Rosemary, could I? The Duke Deaf Dog books are coming at the end because we still need
Oh,
to talk about the actual books that you narrated for her. Because
okay.
I don't know if people saw your post, but the even the titles are just fantastic. Death by Dissertation, Dead Week, and Dead of Winter Break. I want to come back to Kelly and ask about the inspiration for the books. But Rosemary, tell us what you thought at the beginning of this partnership that you're creating here. You're sending her the first 15. She's thrilled. You're thrilled. What were you thinking about the books and what are they like?
So I was really hooked. The two books I had done before had been for YA. One was a huge fantasy with 52 voices, and 22 of them were monsters. And the next was a smaller middle grade, very intimate girls' friendships that go bad and then get back together. So when I started prepping the first book, Death by Dissertation, I was in love with Cassandra Sato the moment she started speaking. And it's a third person limited, so it is from her point of view. And then as the characters, Meg, her best friend, got introduced, then the actual dialogue is so good. And the guys are real guys. I mean, they were hard. There were a lot of men. And but Kelly writes great things, like she wrote like a surfer dude, but he's really like a skiing dude. But she said he's, a lot like a surfer dude from Hawaii, because that getting all things mixed around. But Cassandra Sato grew up in Hawaii and did her PhD there, and I think she had her first job there at a university. And then she moved, and Kelly's going to tell you more about the stories. She moved to Nebraska and started at a university. And she's so natural, and her character is so clear. And the narration itself in between of the setting and what happens and how she feels, I don't know. I fell in love right from the beginning. And I actually get, as everyone does, I get sad as the first one ended, that, oh, that's one, I can never do that again. I love her.
So we're looking for really kind of the inspiration. Are these your early books? Did you choose to put those into audio, or are these more recent with regards to your kind of catalogue of books?
Sure. So I have the one series that's the mysteries on the college campus, and there's four. I'm working on the fifth right now, and those are the ones that Rosemary has narrated. She's done the first three, and then so we'll have two more that will finish next year. They are it's kind of a funny mashup of just all the different things in my life. And because I work on a college campus mostly, I kind of just snippets of conversations, things that I overhear, classes that I've interpreted, and I kind of stick all those characters and things into the books. And I used to live in Hawaii, and so I kind of like laughingly said, "What if I made my main character move to Nebraska?" No one would do that ever. People from Hawaii would not move to Nebraska. So I just thought, like, what would happen if I did that, and what would her life be like, and how different would it be? So that was kind of my jumping off point. And I've just had so much fun just kind of putting all the different little pieces of my life, my friends, the things that I see every day into these books. It's just been, I love them. They're so much fun.
It's fantastic. I love the idea of you actually getting joy from creating these things rather than it just being kind of a any kind of sort of, just trying to get them out. You can't help but write them, it sounds like. I love that.
That's a
Um,
great way to say it. Yes, I can't help it. You're right. I can't stop myself. They're so fun. And I have lots of friends, they kind of churn out books just for the sake of having a product to sell. And there is that, of course. We all want to make some money to support ourselves, but also I think it's just a labor of love. And like I said, I don't think I'm capable of doing something that I don't kind of passionately believe in.
yeah, no, brilliant. It gives you the drive and the now that you know your Clifton Strengths Finder series of
Yeah,
drivers, it's easier for you to focus. That's great. I'm so going to go and do that. Although Serena has
I
looked it
want
up for us and says
I
it's a
know, I
very
hope
long
all of you.
form.
Oh, you know what? It's totally worth it, you guys. It's so fun to take and it gives you such good information. And sometimes people will take it as part of like a work team where they like, you're supposed to say like, okay, so I'm this type of person and you're that type of person and here's how we could work well together. But what I've really studied more is how I can try to make myself better because I do work alone quite a bit. And so like you said earlier about um focusing on the things that you can actually impact. So I think as like, independent contractors, people who work for yourself, like trying to find those top strengths that you're good at and then not feeling guilty about the things that you're maybe not great at, like don't feel bad about it and just embrace the things that you are.
Absolutely love that. Fantastic. Then talk to us then about your other series of books. So Rosemary has already mentioned Duke the Deaf Dog, which sounds incredible. Talk us through the kind of the other books and how I'm curious about how you split your time between two obviously very different worlds.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder how I do that also. After I finished my first couple of books, I think I just wanted to finish a book, right? That was the first thing that I wanted to do. And then when I did that, I just started looking down the horizon for like, okay, what's the next goal? And it just occurred to me one day that I don't think there's very many books for deaf kids or with deaf characters or that are very authentic. And so I started doing the research and back in 2019, there were very, very few books that actually featured deaf characters and some of the like authentic issues that they experience in their life. And so it just so happens that my sister is a very talented artist. And I talked her into illustrating the first book for me. And she had no idea what she was getting herself into at the time. But she's my sister and she's very kind. So she did. She did the first three books. They're picture books, and she did the illustrations. And she is so talented. She did a bunch of research trying to figure out what kind of dog it would be, and then all the characters in the books are dogs, so they're kind of anthropomorphic. They're like people. He lives in a family. He has a brother. He has brothers, and he goes to school and stuff. But they're all like dog characters. They're just adorable. It's been so much fun. Yeah, listening to or putting all of the things into practice that I've learned in my life as an interpreter and being able to share those with kids. The coolest thing to me is that it's not just for deaf kids. Like the first book is called Nevermind, and the premise behind it is a friend of mine had a deaf son. She had three sons that were hearing, and then she had a deaf son. And she made a rule in her house because one day she saw her older sons tell her youngest son, never mind. And she saw the look on his face and how he felt left out. And it just kind of crushed her. So she made a house rule that said, in this house, we don't say never mind. And to this day, that was like the rule of their family. And I just took that to heart. And so I asked her permission if I could write a book kind of using that story. And the cool thing about the book to me is that it has resonated with people of all ages and people with not with hearing loss, like people who have kids that are autistic or kids that have other issues. Like I feel like there's so many people out there who feel left out. And if you can't keep up with like a really quick paced conversation around the dinner table or in a meeting and you ask several times, what did you say? What did you say? Or I didn't understand. So many times we just thoughtlessly tell people, never mind. And it's really kind of struck home with a lot of people that that's not cool. Like people want to be included. No one wants to be left out.
Absolutely love that. That is amazing. I'm very excited. And thank you to Joan, who gave me the link to your website that I've put at the top of the page. I'm going to mention that there's 15 minutes left. I have had somebody raise their hand, so I'm going to bring them up to chat with us. Do feel free to come up and say hello on the sofa before we finish at the top of the hour. If you have any questions for Kelly and Rosemary, or any questions in general. And then I'm going to come back to Rosemary and Kelly and ask them what's next, what's coming up. Is there anything they'd like to share that they're working on, or that they have worked on, that they want to be able to mention, or what's coming up for them as a couple, as it were, and individually. Jamie, thank you very much for joining us up here. You should have a microphone in the bottom right hand corner of your screen that will allow you to unmute and chat with us, hopefully.
Yes, and thank you so much for asking me to come up
You're
here.
welcome. Thank you.
I loved what you guys were just talking about, how I'm finding out there's an autism gene in my family, and it's making so much sense now. And I want to do the same kind of thing where, that not feeling left out, because, I've always sounded like this. I always sounded like a whiner. So I won an award in grade 7 for being the biggest whiner at camp. And then I stopped doing everything. But now that I'm back into voiceover, it's all about mindset. And exactly what you said with that mindset, how we have to embrace this for other people and our family members is so heartwarming. So I just wanted to pop on quickly because I have to go on to a different call, but I really appreciated what you said.
Thank you very much for joining us. And you're right, we talk about it a lot here: inclusion, awareness, visibility. It's all so important in all of our lives to make us more conscious and more able to enjoy ultimately. So thank you very much, Jamie, for coming up and sharing with us. And good luck to you. Do come back again another day. Rosemary, I don't know if you're ready, but I'm going to come back to you now and ask, what now?
Besides the lovely prospect of a couple of weeks of family and no deadlines and no hard work, Kelly is, actually, the third book, Dead of Winter Break, just has come back from the engineers the other day and is going to soon in on the platforms for sale. So that's very exciting. And then I know that Kelly's going to be sending me book 4. She's formatting, blah blah blah, all that great stuff that I have no idea how to do. So when the new year hits, I'll be prepping that and recording it. And I know Kelly's also working on book 5. And meanwhile, I'm doing what Kelly said. I made a little sheet of paper. Make my plate the right size, cuz we're all, we're all do so much, and we're good. We're producers. We know how to do it. I'm going to be directing another big show next year and the following years, and I want to do a very good job at that as well. But I do say something I heard from a friend who is not an optimist, and she said that it's a proven fact, and of course I don't know where it's a proven fact, that optimists, yeah, they do a lot of pie in the sky thinking and planning and dreaming, but they actually, at the end of the day, often get more done than a person who perhaps is not optimistic. So I just decided I was going to put that in my pocket and keep it and say, yeah, that's okay then. I'm okay.
That's wonderful. Have you got any, are you excited for the 2 books that are coming up next year within this group of 5, that having allowed you to kind of get so excited and passionate about the first 3, do you have high hopes for the characters of Cassandra Sato, as you mentioned, that you were you were so
Yes.
taken by?
Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, and Kelly is this is so funny. It was to me because I'm a new narrator. But so there are these guys, and there are 3 actually, even though Kelly, one of them is more long distance, and I don't know if he's going to show up again. But there have been 2 consistently in the first 3 books, and they're on the campus, and they're very different, and she feels really differently about each of them. But like, I'm just dying to find out how and when and who she falls for. And a funny thing was that one of the engineers at Hillcrest, what a great Hillcrest Audio, what a great engineering company. One of them wrote to me at one point and said, I really hope she falls for so and so because I've had a lot of bad boys. And I'm going to tell you, I married the good boy and I'm really, really happy about it. And so I had to tell Kelly that because clearly they're chatting about it up there in their audio studios and stuff. And I thought that was hilarious.
It's fantastic. I love the fact that they're having an effect on. It's always great when you get feedback actually from the engineering crowd who must spend their days listening to all sorts of different genres and books. And when you actually get feedback that's going, "Hey, this one touched me, and I need to know what happens next," kind of thing, is wonderful. That is great. I'm so pleased, Rosemary. Well, good luck, happiness with your family, and hope all goes well for you. And Kelly, what's happening in your world? Are these books written or are they planned out? The next two.
Yeah, the fourth book has been published for over a year, and so that one I'm just. This has been a great process. Rosemary has been so kind to me. I know she said she was just beginning, and so I felt like we've been kind of learning together about how to do this process because she's kind of walked me through like the things that she needs, and so going through and figuring out things that I need to call out to help her do her job better and easier. And I hope it's gotten better as we've gone, that I have a little bit more idea of how to get the book ready to give to her. And I'm actually currently, so that one will be getting to her soon. And then the fifth book, I'm in the middle of writing right now. And it's really interesting talking to Rosemary or listening to the books. Sometimes when I'm writing it, it's all happening in my head, kind of like a movie, but there's no audio track to it. And so now that I know that it's going to be in audio, I feel like it's affecting my dialogue when I write the dialogue a little bit because I'll be thinking, like, well, how is this going to actually sound? Whereas before, it was just kind of me acting it out in my office with no one to watch. But now that I have in my head, like, okay, well, how is this going to translate to the page, to the audiobook? So it's kind of been fun. But yeah, that one's not finished yet. So that one will probably be the middle of next year. But I'm really excited about the idea of publishing both of them at the same time, like doing the ebook and the paperback and the audio all at once. Like that, I've never done that before. So how cool is that?
It is very cool. Do you have plans for will this fifth book close out the series? Do you have plans for another kind of concept, or are you excited to kind of just see where this goes and what light shines on you?
I have plans for seven for this series, but I love the world that I built so much that I'm going to do another series that's in the same world with some of the same characters. So yeah, I feel blessed with the sisterhood here that Rosemary and I have formed, and hopefully I will get to work with her for a long time to come.
Well, it sounds like a fantastic partnership. So congratulations. And I must just say thank you to Jerry also, who's put a connection to an article I'm hoping about pessimism versus optimism that Rosemary was talking about that looks like a really interesting read. So thank you very much for that, Jerry. Well, Kelly, Rosemary, is there anything I didn't ask or didn't say? Apologies for being so bossy earlier, Rosemary, but is there anything you want to mention while we're here that you might want the crowd to know, or you might want people to know about you, or that's coming up for you that you might want to shout about? Now is your chance.
Um, I feel like so much of 2025 is I've already scheduled in my brain that nothing feels new. I mean, they haven't happened yet, but it's not like, oh, I've had this. Well, actually, there is one little thing. Actually, it's not too little. Say it very briefly. So I, like everyone, has about 8 different sources of photographs, and I've been dying for years to get them organized, and I've tried and tried, and I've never been able to pull it off. There are, as we know, tens of thousands of them. So I just signed up for this hand holding course that will take a year, and it's going to take all of the photographs and videos that I have. I'm going to learn how to organize them on a computer and have them accessible because I'm 1/3 of the way through a book project that I cannot complete without photographs. And the project is, we're a first generation Armenian family. And my dad at Sunday dinners would always tell us these Naslet Hoja stories. And it was only on Sunday, and we would be so happy he was doing it. So I'm making a book that is my mom's our favorite 15 recipes of hers, and then photographs of us as we were little and growing up. There aren't a lot of them because when I was 18, our house burnt down, so a lot of things were lost, everything was lost. But and these folklore stories. So I can't get that book done until I do this course. So I committed.
Wow, that's impressive.
Well,
That
not
sounds
yet,
like a
right?
lot. It sounds like a lot. I mean, that's pretty neat. I mean, it's neat that you're going to have a product at the end of it, but even just being able to find your photographs would be amazing.
Would be amazing, 100%.
I've actually managed to put a link to the death by dissertation at the top of the page, but unfortunately,
Oh,
it won't
yeah.
let me do the audible.com one, only the UK one. I apologize, but it's up there, and I hope people will go and find it because they sound fabulous. And Kelly, was there anything you wanted to mention that we didn't manage to cover in the time that we were here?
Oh gosh, we've talked about so many things. I just thank you so much for coming and for your great questions and the opportunity to meet you folks. And yeah, just thank you. I hope you all have a great rest of the month and holidays. And I'm looking forward to some rest. I hope you are too.
Yes, no, it's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much to you both. A huge thank you to everybody for turning up today. And an invite, of course, to anybody who has an author friend or an author who has a narrator friend who'd like to come along and share their story like Rosemary and Kelly did today. Today we had Rosemary Cline, narrator, and author Kelly Brakenhoff. Thank you so much to both of you for joining us. My takeaways: there's been so much gold here today about being a narrator, being an author, how you reach out, why these connections work. If you didn't get a chance, do go back and listen to the beginning because it was great. Thank you so much to both of you for sharing that connection and the joy that you obviously have in each other's work. Thank you again very much to everybody who came along today. Couldn't do this without the audience, so thank you very much for listening in, and let's all go out and be our favourite selves. Take care, everyone. Thank you.